Oh, hello, Tashitele, everyone. I hope all of you are doing fine. And welcome back to the Lojong session. Yeah, so take a few moments to settle ourselves in the present moment. Do a few rounds of breathing exercise. Then refresh refuge practice in Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Have the clear visualizations of one's root guru, then all the way up to the Guru Shachmani Buddha or the lineage gurus, like such as the great Gadamba masters, great Indian Panditas, such as Lama Adisha, Dhammarakshita, and all the lineage masters of the profound Dharma and extensive Dharma. Then develop full conviction in their validity of the Dharma that we're going to study, because the Dharma that what we are studying is the Dharma that they have actualized. They have used those the Dharma teaching and that where we study as a path. Because of that, they have actualized the stage of perfection up to full enlightenment. So these lineage gurus are the evidence or the example of the power of the teaching that we pursue. So then, by perfecting the enlightened qualities, then how beneficial they become to all sentient beings. And to prove that, yourself is the example. You know how much Dharma have benefited you. Even you are just a beginner, first time studying the Dharma, then you will witness through the process that Dharma is like a one medicine that can cure all the problems, all the diseases, all the pain, the Dharma that we study, the Lojong teaching, the medicine that overcome not only temporary inconvenience, but also the pervasive the suffering, the samsara itself, including its causes, the root causes, the delusions, then lead us into complete stage of cured from all the problems, from all the sufferings, which is the state of liberation. Not only ordinary liberation, but it leads us to the ultimate liberations, which is the full enlightenment. So from that on, your achievement become like a wish-granting jewel, a wish-fulfilling jewel, wish-fulfilling, object of all the wishes of all the mother sentient beings. You see, so that much benefit. So knowing this, then aspire oneself to follow the footstep of all our lineage gurus all the way up to Buddha. So in order to do that, then they're going to, study the Dharma, the correct teaching, then going to, travel on that path. Then, in order to make the journey most steady and most effective and fastest way to achieve those goals is through the cultivation of the most essential and most powerful path, which is the path of altruism, the bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. So then, here, to the concern of rest of the numberless sentient beings' well-being, then you're going to adopt the two supreme path of a supreme method and supreme wisdom. So therefore, whatever the time that you spend here, whatever the spiritual journey that you are pursuing, may it be the cause of numberless sentient beings, temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. On the basis of this understanding, then try to generate altruistic intention as wholehearted as possible, as sincere as possible. Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janjo Bado Dani Jazonje Daji Jinzo Jeve Sonamje Dola Benje Zanje Dubarajo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janjo Bado Dani Jazon Daji Jinzo Jeve Sonamje Dola Benje Zanje Dubarajo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janjo Bado Dani Jazonje Daji Jinzo Jeve Sonamje Dola Benje Zanje Dubarajo Gange doze ne zone dawa damje pambeje dambeje ne denze mengo damde la chansen Donye nye sondo jube lama zeje zeje ganje dende ge chana pemo denze jazo la sowa debzo da jun chinje lo semje damje dewa danga dewe judan dembra juje semje damje dunga danga dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mepe dewa dami dawa je semje damje nire jada nidan dawe danyola nebra juroje semje damje dewa danga dewe judan dembra juje semje damje dunga danga dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mepe dewa dami dawa juje semje damje nire jada nidan dawe danyola nebra juroje semje damje dewa danga dewe judan dembra juje semje damje dunga danga dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mepe dewa dami dawa juje semje damje nire jada nidan dawa Tanyola nebara juroje. Yeah, so today I would like to encourage and request everyone take a few moments to meditate on loving kindness and compassion, and send the metta, send the frequency of our prayers, prayers that generated through love and compassion to all the suffering sentient beings, in particularly at this stage, at this time, there's so many people and animals who are suffering due to devastating flood in China, in some part of Europe, in India, in Nepal, and some countries in Southeast Asia. Then also the many people, in particularly many animals, especially wild animals who are dying, who died, who are suffering from this wildfire that is happening. I think in America. Such like that. Then of course, there are many people still live in anxiety, tremendous fear from the COVID-19. There are still so many people suffering in the hospital, and so many people pass away from that. So keeping those in the center of your heart as object of your prayer, compassion, and love. Then we recite one mala of Compassionate Buddha's mantra, then one mala of Guru Pema Sambhava, Guru Rinpoche's mantra, and one mala of Tara mantra, and one mala of Medicine Buddha mantra to dispel the adversity of a natural disaster and diseases. And also in some part of the world, there are innocent peoples are suffering due to political conflicts. So like that. Then at the same time, we all know there are so many people suffering from mental depressions, anxiety, abuse, etc. So keeping all those specifically in our heart, and we dedicate this practice. Okay, so I'm sure many of you have witnessed from the news the devastating flood that's sweeping away the homes and livelihoods, and in particularly the animals and the peoples. I saw there's one news. The flocks of cows are just swiping away, and banging in the bridges and the walls, with a very heavy flood, and human beings are too like that. So it's so much suffering. Yeah. So we dedicate that. Okay. Cha dong go lo jue wei jia bo dang jun dong go bo san jun dong gang lang gang le den dan de de be zun ba che re se la cha ce lo om mani pe me hong 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 mani pe me hong mani pe me om mani pe me hong. Om mani be me om a hum benza guru pema se de hum om a hum benza guru pema se de Omo ahung benzer guru bema sede hung. 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 Omo benzer guru bema sede hung. Om tare du tare turiye soha. Om tare du tare turiye soha. Om tare du tare turiye soha. Om dare du dare dure 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 soha. Daya tha om begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Daya don Daya don begaze begaze ma begaze begaze raza samonga de so. Jawa de nyudo da membe jabo dubjo ne dowa ji jama lupa de zala go barai sho semje ne pa chi nye pa nyudo ne le ta jo jiru ben ne ma le ta do jungwa me para sho pama semje damje ten dan ten jir je ngindo damje ta do tongwa da chan jo sembar kana su sho le ta kunje mo lam du jo je jambe pa we chidar khenpa ta kundo sambo ten yang de shin ji de ta kunje jiso da lo Jawa de da dam je rab do ngo de so she pe jawa tam je de ngo wa ga la cho do ngo ba da je je ve za wa de ngo sam bo je je rab do ngo wa je pe da zo wa mi ge be she no wo pa sam je sim je ra wa gu de be sam ba che je de be da shi shu Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so we are studying the text by Dhammarakshita, great Indian Pandit Dhammarakshita. The text titled "The Peacock Roaming in the Jungle of Vigilant Poison," or "The Peacocks Neutralizing of Poison." The Peacocks Neutralizing of Poison, attribute to Dhammarakshita. So there are a few chapters. We have covered the first chapter, which very much Dhammarakshita shared the major, 6 different kind of Buddha's previous lives as a bodhisattva of bodhisattva, the encounterings of the bodhisattvas deeds, those events, to inspire us to, to able to perform our life too in such manner and get perfected in bodhisattva's conduct, for the benefit of numberless sentient beings. So today here, the second chapter, very much tackling of the root cause of all the misconducts and the root cause of all the sufferings, root cause of all the faults, which is the 5 delusions, or the 5 poisonous delusions. So it's very much about how to, transform, those delusions onto the path, and how to purify them by the correct antidotes. So I think it has a few parts. The first verse is very much introducing the practitioner, of such practices. Then verse 2 onward, I'm talking about on the second chapter. The second chapter, if you are using the same volume, then it is on page 157. The continue verses, which is start from verse 11. So verse 11 is very much introducing, what kind of practitioner that should practice, should practice in such a way. Then verse 12 onward, each verse, very much focusing on how to take, those delusions onto the path and how to, purify them. Then verse 17 is very much conclusions of the method that discussed before. Then verse 18 onward is very much concentrated advice how to take above teachings into practice in our day-to-day life. And then verse 25 onward is very much reasoning why we should practice in such a way in order to perfect our bodhisattva's path. The giving a reasonalizing, so that we not just blindly follow these practices, but we also understand the reason. So something like that. Yeah. So the first is a homage to Lord Yamentaka. So as usual, first of all, Dhammarakshita pay homage to Yamentaka, because the reason for the homage, they are as usual. One of the reason is to to accumulate merits and to purify obstacles to the composition of the teaching. Another reason is also showing the main subject of the teaching that he's going to compose. Since Yamantaka being the the emptiness, wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of emptiness, manifested in the lawful deity's form. Yamantaka being the wisdom deity, essence of the past, present, future Buddhas, all the Buddhas' essence of the wisdom. Because of that, then already show that the main theme of this teaching is about the wisdom of emptiness. Then, in particularly, in particularly why Yamantaka? Why not Manjushri? Because Manjushri also is deity of wisdom. Yamantaka, you see, just the title, just the name of the deity, Yamantaka. There's a two word put together, Yama and Taka, Yamantaka. So the Yama is referring to the negation, which meaning is referring to is the self-grasping ignorant. The self-grasping ignorant. The conventional Yama is referring to the most drastic, most drastic the events of this samsaric existence is the death. You see, so the conventional Yama referring to the death. So Taka is meaning is referring to the wisdom of emptiness. Wisdom of emptiness. Then conventionally, then the images like such as the Yamantaka's own deities images and the implements and the practices is referring to the Taka or the antidote. So clearly, as I mentioned before, so this is very much tackling of the five poisonous delusions, which are the Yama, by the antidote of different aspect of practices, which are also the illustration of the wisdom of emptiness, Taka. So because of that, they pay homage to Yamantaka like that. So then the verse 11, it says, which is verse 11 from the text, but from this chapter, the first verse, heroes, you who are enthusiastic, listen to this teaching. In the jungle of silent existence, delight not in the beautiful peacocks, or at the feet of a poisonous tree of the five afflictions. Delight not in the medicinal fruit ripened with poison. So, as I mentioned before, this verse defining, the practitioner of, such practices that are going to introduce later. So, who are those practitioners? Those practitioners are the bodhisattvas, who have the capability to, take the five poisonous delusions onto the path, who has the full capability to eradicate the five poisons, the impact of the five poisons. Then we too also, those whoever aspire Mayanic path, those whoever aspire to follow Bodhisattva's path, all of you, isn't it? All of you admire Shantideva, Atisha, Nagarjuna, like Lama Atisha, Domdamba, like Geshe Charawa, Podova, etc., including like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Gyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche. We aspire their qualities, and we aspire to become just like them. We aspire to follow their path, isn't it? So so they are bodhisattvas. They are bodhisattvas. So therefore, so heroes here also can refer to those who not yet bodhisattva, but still, your ambition of your spiritual practice, your ambition of life is to cultivate the bodhisattva's conduct, like we are, also, can include here. Heroes, you who are enthusiastic, heroes like you. I'm not quite sure. I feel shy to say I'm also included, but definitely you are. Definitely you are. You're so. You inspired. Lojong teaching. You inspired Mayanic Dharma. You inspired Shantideva. You definitely want to become like Shantideva, isn't it? So therefore, you who are enthusiastic in Bodhisattva's conduct, you who are enthusiastic to dedicate one's life in Bodhisattva's way of life, you who are enthusiastic to become just like our precious gurus and our lineage gurus, those Kadamba masters and those Panditas, then listen to this teaching. Then must study this teaching. That's what it's saying. So what is the teaching? What is the teaching? In the jungle of silent existence, delight not in the beautiful peacock. You see, so in the jungle of silent existence, so jungle here is wherever there's existence of the pervasive compounded aggregates, pervasive compounded aggregates, which is called samsara, like pervasive compounded aggregates, our physical body and our mind, our mental aggregate, our physical aggregate, feeling, etc., is samsara, which is called the pervasive compounded phenomena or pervasive compounded suffering, from the three suffering, the third one. And that pervasive compounded suffering exists as long as in any being that samsara exists. As long as in any being this compounded pervasive samsaric aggregate exists. So who are they? From the tips of the samsara, from the God realm, formless God realm, all the way down to the Vajra health, whichever realm of this, whichever six realms that we are born, whether born in hell realm, whether born in human realm, whether born in God realm, as long as we carry the contaminated aggregates, contaminated our life, our being, our basis is contaminated by karma and delusion, then it is called silent existence. So jungle here referring is like a massive, isn't it? Like a massive tree is called jungle, isn't it? So the massiveness of the existence of pervasive compounded suffering is pervades in entire six realms of samsara, from the formless God realm, the tip of samsara, all the way up to the lowest, the Vajra health, of the hell being. So the meaning, the jungle, referring to that. And so what is that jungle? Is called silent existent. You see, the jungle of silent existent, cyclic existent. As long as you carry that pervasive compounded aggregates, then never ends cycling within the sixth realm of existence. Sometimes we're born as a human being. While we take as a human being, like precious human rebirth, like what we have now, if we are unable to liberate ourselves from delusion and karma, then when we pass away after 100 or after 50, 60, 100 years later, when we pass away, even you happen to born in the God realm, still samsara. Even you happen to born again as a precious human rebirth, it's still samsara. It's still jungle of, it's still within the jungle of self-existent. Then of course, if you're born in the three law realms, definitely. So therefore, delight not in the beautiful peacock. So even you born as a human being, like when we have a healthy body, when we have a healthy mind, there's no mental suffering, there's no physical suffering. You have a nice home, nice car, youthful, full of bank balance, a lot of friends. You see, nothing to be delighted. This beautiful peacock. So this beautiful peacock is like a given example. It could be you and me. You can give an example. Like myself. You can give the example like myself. A beautiful peacock, or yourself. At this very stage, very healthy. Physically no sickness, mentally no sickness. You are still under you got the roof on your head. You got food in the fridge. You have everything enough, isn't it? Everything good, isn't it? So how beautiful, how comfortable that your status may be, you are in, nothing to be delighted. Why? Because you are still in the jungle of self-existent. You see, in the jungle of self-existence, like that. So this is the teaching, one of the very important teaching. Always have a mindfulness in the understanding of the limitations of the samsaric existence. Always have the mindfulness of renunciation. In understanding the limitation of self-existent, in understanding the limitation of this samsaric product, limitations of the product of delusion and karma, limitations of the karma and delusion. You see, and this is so effective teaching because we are delighted in this fantasy of our life. When we get money, we feel so happy. We get delighted and we attach to it, and we forget about practice. We forget about Dharma. We forget about the actual meaning of life. Why? Because we are delighted in the beautiful peacock, like we're delighted in the beautiful richness. And when we are youthful, when we are healthy, then our focus sway away from Dharma. Our focus sway away from the meaning of life. Rather, now I'm very healthy. My feet are strong. My limbs are strong. I'm youthful. Rather, I should dedicate to go and climb the Mount Everest. Rather, I should dive into the deepest ocean. Rather I do maybe 100 million. I don't know how many millions of miles of cycling. And just be happy. Just get lost because I have nothing to worry. So this is like a delight in the beautiful peacock of our life. Like that. So saying that not to get distracted. How beautiful, how conducive that we may be in, how greatness we may be in, as long as it is still a subject of samsara, still is a subject of subject in the product by karma and delusion, nothing will last. Everything will come to the exhaustion. You see, then we have to go through the journey of empty-handed. Since in the lifetime didn't get a chance to accumulate merit, didn't get a chance to gather the the wisdom of Dharma, then when we pass away through this life, then our mind will be like kind of completely filled with hallucination. So no question about need to face death. Even when we hear our loved one are in suffering, we get freaked out, isn't it? We cannot control our mind. Even when we hear, one's own loved one, someone, like in danger. Just an example, in danger in COVID, ourselves freak out. We get worried. We get confused. We have a sleepless nights. Our mind cannot calm. Can you imagine when the death comes? The hallucination is so powerful. Then, you see, then especially when it comes to, when we have some sign of health issue, then we get freaked out. We worry that it may be a chronic sickness. It may cause our life. We get so scared, isn't it? In that kind of time, even how long we've been practicing Dharma, in many cases that we get out of hand to calming ourselves, to be able to utilize the Dharma wisdom. Why? Because there's no genuine renunciation in our heart, because we are too habitual in delighting our senses, our awareness, our mind, our focus, our life, our time into the fantasy of temporary goodness of the samsara. Because of that, you see. So so then, if you refer this, it's a delight not in the beautiful peacock. So when you refer to someone out there, in this world, in this human world, there are billionaires. There are unbelievable billionaires out there. Yeah, unbelievable billionaires out there. Then it's nothing to get excited about that. Yes, we rejoice, their wealthiness, but nothing to attach. There's nothing to attach, nothing to envy. By knowing, it has no essence. There's no lasting essence in that. You see, and there are many people, because of you see someone is so richful in wealth, then you envy, then you put yourself, you forget about everything. In the case, in many people's case, that you even kind of let down your family members, let down your family responsibilities, and let down your health, and you just day and night, pursue only money to be, to be the same level as that rich people. Sometimes people do that, isn't it? So as a Dharma practitioner, of course, you can earn a lot of wealth, and is to use meaningful way, of course, but it's not something that see as ultimate to be pursued. So it's just recently I saw in the news, there's one billionaire, earns so much money. In this world, there's so much suffering of poverty around the world. So much suffering of poverty around the world. You see, but then because of so much money, you go into the capsule, the rocket, and go into the space. I don't know the number, but it could have spent. I think it must have spent billions and billions of dollars, and that's the kind of our biggest achievement. I mean, it's a great science, but like for me, maybe I may be stupid. I feel this is meaningless. Rather, you can at least 5% or 10%. You give to the poor people, food and medicines, and needs around the world. It's not because of around the world there's no suffering, there's no poverty, there's so many people are suffering, you see. But the focus is completely in other way, there are many like that. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It is people individual choice. But as a Dharma practitioner, how to say, from the eyes of Dharma practitioner, when you see that, then it's nothing to be delighted. It is exactly like a very beautiful peacock, like with the colorful feathers, the colorfulness of the richness out there, but still that you understand it is still a product of samsara, therefore nothing to be delighted, like that, you see. And in particularly, there are so many people envy, feel jealous about that, that's the worst, you see. Then similar goes to the like even the like kind of like fame and the name, the status in the world, like a fame, name, status, beauty or physical looks, etc. All these are like a beautiful peacock. It's like a beautiful peacock. If you see that in someone else, you just rejoice, but it's nothing to be delighted, means nothing to be attached, nothing to be kind of regarding that is the ultimate essence of the life, you see. Whenever you see that, you rejoice, but then at the same time that you have the heart of renunciation, you have the heart of renunciation. You see, seeing that too still in the nature of samsara, so like that. So this is what it means. In the jungle of silent existence, delight not in the beautiful peacock, like that. So in another way, whenever you see this, like beautiful peacock, like beautiful places, beautiful people, and all the richness in all the aspects that as mentioned before, whenever you think of them, see them, encounter them, then immediately, you immediately that how to say, that you make offering from your heart. You bless them, you rejoice, like rejoice, but then at the same time that omahong, you make those beauty as an offering to the noblest Buddhas, and that merit you dedicate to this beautiful people, for them to not to exhaust the merit, and may those beautifulness, may those richness not to be the cause of their arrogance, not to be the cause of their delusion, rather may it be the cause of their accumulation of merit by utilizing their richness, to be most beneficial, to the needy one, most beneficial to the world, like the power, like the status, like the financial richness, like the beautiful looks, may all this be the condition to benefit other sentient beings, So by making offering, after you say making offering to Buddha, you accumulate merit, and that merit you dedicate for again to these people that to whom that you just witness, and also bless them, so that so that what you call so that as a practitioner, as a Bodhisattva practitioner, that instead of you get distracted by this samsaric existence, rather you utilize as a path to benefit by accumulating merit, by making offering to the Buddhas, by rejoicing in their goodness, and at the same time blessing those people. Then at the same time you can also make a prayer that may all the other, those who have no status, those who have no home, those who have no richness, those who have no beauty, may actualize all those goodness, like in the Shantideva's prayer, that every single detail of the limitations in the sentient being, you make prayer to overcome them. Similar way, so you transform into a practice like that. So then the third line is, or at the feet of the poisonous tree of five afflictions, or at the feet of the poisonous trees of 5 affliction, delight not in the medicinal fruit ripened with poison. So then also, not to be delighted, anything that expresses from the 5 poisonous delusions, like such as lust, anger, ignorant, jealousy, and pride. So these 5 afflictions are lust, anger, delusion, envy, conceit, or attachment, anger, ignorance, jealousy, pride. So these are the 5 afflictions. So whatever experiences or whatever idea that comes, whatever speech that come out, whatever physical action that you perform, which are rooted by the 5 poison affliction, then nothing to be excited, nothing to be delighted, nothing to feel good about, nothing to feel proud about, nothing to recognize as a beneficial about, nothing to regard as a beneficial about, rather should regard as a harmful, rather should regard as a negative, non-beneficial, then try to overcome, purify any of the actions of bodhisattva mind that which expresses by the 5 poisonous delusions. So delight not in the medicinal fruit ripened with poison, like such as attachment. When you expresses thoughts from attachment, when you obtain, the fruit, when you obtain the grasping of lust, when let's say when you attach to something and when you get it, you feel so happy, you feel excited, you feel wow, great achievement, like that. It said in actual understanding, in actual fact, there's nothing to be feel like that. When anything that you obtain, what urged by attachment is harmful to you. Harmful to you and harmful to others. Harmful to you and harmful to others. So you see, like an example, you desire for let's say even like mala, you desire for beautiful mala, because of not in the intentions of utilizations into a practice, knowing that, oh, this is crystal mala, because crystal is a natural healing component. Then it has the symbolism of compassion Buddha Cheresik to hold crystal mala. So therefore, if I get that crystal mala, then I can perform the practice of compassion in recitation of Mani Padme Hum more effectively, so that I can able to benefit others. Then that's virtue. That's fine. That is inspiration. You inspire. You aspire to. You inspire to obtain the crystal mala. But then, instead of that, the crystal mala, the richness of it is a value. So if I have it, then, wow, I have a very, very, very expensive mala, so that if I go among other people, people will admire me, or I can boast of having a very rich mala, when we are little monk, when like myself, little monk. Now I don't have that kind of thinking, but when little monk, even mala, to get chance to get a bit nice mala is like, instead of wanting to use for your practice, rather you want to compete with the rest of the other your peers. So that is a delusional one. Then, so in understanding of Dharma, then not only in understanding of Dharma, even in reality, if you obtain any object with the lust, desirous attachment, then the consequences is negative, because you commit the karma, negative karma, That's why it is harmful. You see, one of the main reasons why it is harmful, any of the actions of body, speech, and mind that rooted, that motivated by the delusion, because you see, any action physically you perform which is intended by the delusional mind, then that become harmful, like Nagarjuna said in the precious garland, anything that comes out of attachment, anger, ignorance, then those are regarded as a negative. You see, so negative karma. You see, so you accumulate the negative imprint, which is the karma. You see, then even in the thought, that whatever the stimulation of thought, that which is basis on the mind of lust, then that thought become contaminated. That thought become that stimulation of the thought is action of mind that actualize the intentional karma or the negative karma of the mind. You see, so then with the intention of lust, then whatever speech that come out, it become the action of the speech become negative karma of the speech. You see, so similar goes to the physical body, like that. So therefore, there's nothing to be delighted. You see, at the feet of the poisonous tree of the five afflictions, delight not in the medicinal fruit ripened with poisons. Ripened with poisons. Would be only harmful to you. Like that. So therefore, any action that arises from anger, that's nothing to feel good. Ordinary, in some people's mind, like anger is like a power. If you have some sense of anger, then you feel that you have the power. And also when you express anger, some people feel it's like a power. In fact, the anger, whenever anger arises, you become weak. It's like kind of consuming your the immune system, your confident, immune system of your positivity. You see, so when the anger is expressed to anyone, even though people may listen, because they listen with the fear, but not listen with the respect. In fact, people generate a negative, heart towards you. So it's not helpful. You see, so so it's only harmful. You see, then ignorance. On the basis of ignorance, that you express any form of action, then definitely you will make a mistake, because you perform the actions without not knowing the fact, not knowing the actual reality. You see, like in the darkness, if you want to grab something, that you may grab wrong things. You see, and in the darkness, if you walk without light, you may fall, etc. Like that. So in the darkness, in the ignorance about karma, then you may regard negative as a positive karma. In the darkness of not understanding the existence of life and rebirth, then you may you may fall in the prey of only grasping in the limited this very lifetime's purposes, then never to kind of prepared for the future lifetimes. Then in the darkness of wrong view of ignorance, then you grasp everything wrongly. You grasp something which is not true existence, you grasp as a true existence. Something which is not independent existence, you grasp as independent existence. Something that which is not permanent nature, but you grasp as a permanent. Something which is not dualistic, you grasp as a dualistic. Something that which is not inherent existent, you grasp as inherent existent. Then that way, your mind, continue to deepen in the muds of darkness, in the muds of darkness. Then even how many times our rebirth changes, how many times our life changes, our rebirth go deeper and deeper, down and down, further and further down. Then eons and eons of kalpas, remain in the lowest, silent existent, and suffer like that. So that much negative impact. The poisonous impact of the ignorance like that. Then envy, jealousy. You see, with the heart of jealousy, then not only you destroy your own meritorious karma to obtain, those goodness where you envy of, but then at the same time, it brings so much suffering without any benefit. You see, then the pride, so because of the pride, especially ego pride, we all know how much suffering that it causes into us. You see, even about just within our own thinking, in certain situation, because of the ego, that we sometimes don't accept the reality, and stay in the denial and suffer, or continue to commit wrongdoings. Then because of the ego pride, unable to face the reality, rather hold on to the wrong view of the ego-centered pride, then we commit all sort of wrongdoings in relation to others, like that, you see. So therefore, sometimes, you see, many people think, like pride is like a confident, so on the basis of the ego pride, how much you think you are great is still poisonous, is still harmful, you see. So it's nothing to be admired. So if someone who live in a so egoic pride, nothing to delight onto that, because it is in fact is a harmful, knowing it is harmful, you see, like that. So then verse 12 is about the lust. If you fail to counter the boiling poisonous portion of the lustful act with something akin to lust, the threat looms of this lust inciting injury. So destroy these poisons through simulated lust. So if you fail to encounter boiling poisonous, so if you have this, overwhelming arising of attachment grasping, then and performing, the action in relation to that, it could be like it could be sexual activities, or it could be gathering of objects, or delusionalizing in your mind, in anything, with the overwhelming, lustful, boiling poisonous, the lust. Then through that, any act that you perform, it is a threat looms through this lust injury. So this is whenever you have such kind of delusional thought arising, then immediately have to remember that it is threat looms of this lust, inciting injury. So you have to remember that immediately. You have to detect that is going to harm you greatly. It's going to harm you greatly. By knowing that, then so destroy this portion through simulate loss. So immediately, then you should overcome this desirous attachment, and any action that you are engaging in, through desirous attachment, immediately through the applications of simulated loss. So simulated loss is a specific direct antidote to the attachment, which is called the simulated loss. Through the direct antidote, which is the direct antidote to the loss, is a detachment. So if you are in your system, in your mental system, there's a strong desire attachment to physical body of somebody, like a sexual desire attachment to physical body of somebody, and you're unable to control, it really like becoming obsessed, and that when you don't obtain that object, and you even engage in the act of how to harm them in order to get that object, or how to cheat the other person to get the objective of that loss. So if you have that kind of desire, is a very overwhelming, desirous, boiling kind of poisonous lust coming in your system, then you meditate on the you see the false aspect of the aggregates of that person, like such as meditating or understanding, like if you the nature of the skin, the nature of what is in the skin, like such as like blood in the nerves and the bone, etc. So there are meditations like you take out the skin, because you are very much attached to the figure, the color, the shape. But when you peel it out, what are you going to see? Blood, isn't it? And if the skin is peeled out, that which you were so attached because of the color, because of the shape, because of the feeling, if you take off that, then how would you will feel it? If you take off that flesh out, only the skeleton of that person, how you will feel it? So there are meditations like that, you see. So see the faults of the contaminated aggregate of that person's body. Then that way, then you're able to purify it. Purify that strong lust. You see. Then if you have such kind of attachment to situations or objects, then again use the emptiness wisdom to understand it is nature. There's no inherent such thing that you are hoping to get it. Such thing that you like. If you thoroughly go and search, there's no such thing that how you perceive. How you perceive it. Your lust is very much on the basis of what you have perceived it, and if you want to obtain it, that object has to be there. But if you go to search that object thoroughly, that you cannot find the thing that you have perceived, because there's an empty of it. And in fact, the first idea of the perception actually is a false perception, So you can also use like that. Then there are the practices that stimulate, the antidote, through stimulated lust. Like such in tantric practice, there are very elaborate practices there. In sutric practice, also there are practices of taking attachment onto the path. But in particularly in tantra, like actualizing, like a deities like Vajrayogini and Heruka. Like Vajrayogini Heruka is antidote, direct antidote to the lust. attachment. You see, so so if you have a daily yoga practice like initiation on like Heruka, Vajrayogini, then you can use the desire, the strong desire that you have, not as a limitation, rather use that as a tool, is a forceful tool to activate your spiritual system, like such as chakras, wind, drop, and the mind, in order to actualize the subtle activations of the channel and practices. So so that is one of the way that you can understand what it means, destroy this poison through stimulated lust, by actualizing the daily yoga. Then taking attachment onto the path. Like even when you visualize Vajrayogini, is one of the most lustful appearances that you can witness. And if you visualize the union of father mother, that you can see the extreme lustfulness of appearances, but it's not the negation, it's not the negative side. It is in fact is the antidote. You see, even the legend in relation to the practice, like Shiva and Shiva's wife, is there's a legend of overwhelming attachment and desire, that until that the fluid from their sexual sexual conduct, the fluids like drop everywhere. Then each of places that it drops, it form in like kind of like a Shiva linga, like that. Then there, in order to purify that lustfulness, the desires, which is so harmful for the universe, so harmful for the for them and for anyone. You see, so therefore, then Heruka manifests into a similar kind of look, like the Shiva, and the Vajrayogini, the Dakini, look similar to the Shiva's concert. Then the appearance were like very much similar. Then wherever the negations there, the antidote, the actualize, even from the holy places, like wherever there's a Shiva's holy places, is very much there's a holy places of Heruka or Vajrayogini. You see, so so you see, so practitioner of such deity, when there's a strong desire there, then the desire, instead of desire becoming harmful, rather you take as a forceful factor to really activate your spiritual subtle system to utilize the benefit of the tantric daily yoga tantric generation and completion practices. So this can be understood like that also. Then but for that, of course, first you need the initiation. In order to receive the initiation of Heruka Vajrayogini, first you need to have a Tarat understanding of, correct Tarat, confident understanding of emptiness, stable, steady bodhicitta, then stable, steady renunciation to the entire cyclic existent, then also a great amount of merit through preliminary practices, like such as well actualized practices like preparation practices through prostrations, like water bowl offerings, like mandala offerings, like Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga practices, or if you are following any other tradition, then those from their tradition, the Guru Yoga practices, Vajrasattva practices, like minimum like about 100,000 like 100,000 of each ngondro. If there are so many ngondros, 10, 12 different type of ngondro, if not at least 4 major ngondros, like such as Vajrasattva, such as prostration, such as waterful offering, and such as refuge, and such as Guru Yoga practices, then your basis, you and your basis, through the engagement of your body, speech, and mind in these ngondro practices, brings about certain degree of purification and certain degree of kind of like cleansing your system. Then a certain degree of positivity, which is the merits, the good energy that live within you and your basis. Then on top of that, then you have the initiations of like Heruka, Vajrayogini. Then you have a proper commentary. Then you have a proper commitment retreats are done. Then you utilize taking attachment onto the path, especially engaging in very thorough practices in generation and completion stage. Then and that's the like kind of supreme practice, supreme practice, you see. So that's why why regarded practice of Heruka Vajrayogini in this 5 degenerate time, in particularly in the desire realm, in the desire realm, why it's regarded sweetest and most effective practice? Because it is a direct antidote to the lust, direct antidote to the desire. Because we are in the desire realm, all among afflicted emotion, the desire is one of the most harmful and one of the most omnipresent, almost like every rest of the other delusion and almost every actions of our day-to-day life, there's a presence of desire, either obviously or either underlined, either act as a root, you see. So that's the most harmful. That's why it regarded we are in the desire realm, and also desire realm. So therefore the taking practice, desire to be able to take the desire onto the path, especially using tantric practice, number one. If not, at least still, in the sutra, there is the practice of taking attachment onto the path. So that is, you see, let's say if you like someone, like, if you desire something or if you desire someone, then you can understand. You can understand, like, entire your energy focus there, entire your, concentration is there. Your effort is towards there, isn't it? You see, anything that you like is like your thinking is about that. Your verbal, physical, every single action is like completely kind of concentrated, to get that, isn't it? Now use that kind of ability, that kind of desirous kind of attraction, to the desires object. Now you expand that to rest of the sentient beings and rest of the sentient beings' well-being. You see, now that overwhelming desire now make as an overwhelming compassion, overwhelming affection of genuine love, overwhelming affection of genuine concern of the well-being of numberless sentient beings. You see, if you like something, let's say if you like somebody, you're all the time concerned about the well-being of that person. I think many of you, most of you went through relationship, isn't it? Let's say even like human, if you happen to like somebody, in ordinary in ordinary life, you like somebody, then is, in many cases, when you especially the relationship like a partner relationship, liking somebody, you are so concentrated, you are so focused on that person until sometimes you even forget about your parents, because your parents, I mean, there's no attractive, no kinder, no closer than parent than anyone else, isn't it? Especially mother. But when you desire to live with somebody, when you desire to have partner with somebody, uh, then until that, your mother also become a secondary, and that person who suddenly come in your life, maybe just yesterday, who is object of your desire, who is object of your attachment, suddenly become like a supreme among all, isn't it? Supreme among all, in many cases, even in the Dharma practitioner, in many cases, your partner become more supreme than the Buddha and the Guru. You also become like that, isn't it? I sometimes witness, uh, you know, some students before they find their girlfriend or boyfriend, when they're studying Dharma, or they're full focus, in all Dharma activities, and also they express, this the most meaningful thing. So after they get into uh, liking, like boyfriend girlfriend liking to somebody, the Dharma totally gone away, in some people case, like totally disappeared, oh, the Dharma no more important, now my partner, my boyfriend is the number one important, my boyfriend brings me happiness, my boyfriend brings me security, my boyfriend brings me this and that and this, that. Dharma, Dharma, nothing, you know. It happens like that, So then after a certain part of life, when they start to get problems, then they say, oh, no. Actually, Dharma is still better. The problem is that no. I thought it's the ultimate. My boyfriend, my girlfriend is the ultimate, but actually, Dharma wisdom is even difficult time also helping me. Boyfriend and girlfriend, when we start to fight, is not helpful at all. Is there some say like that? I saw that, like that. You see, so anyway, my point is not this one. My point is here. So you see, so can you imagine? You have more to say about that. I'm monk. I don't know about. I don't know more detail about that. You see how engrossed you become. It's like you regard how ultimate you become, isn't it? It's like full focus, everything. Like almost every moment you think of him or her. Everything you do is for her or him, isn't it? Like that, isn't it? Wow, isn't it? Full force, isn't it? Isn't it? Now, similar kind of concentration, similar kind of force, you make it immeasurable to rest of the numberless sentient being. Now you treat the rest of the numberless sentient being like how you treat to your boyfriend, how you treat to your husband, your girlfriend, how you treat, like in the fresh, in the beginning, fresh, the relationship start, how engrossed you are, how focused you are, even though that is expressions of lust, but now that much energy, that much attractiveness, preciousness, now you take that, you take that similar kind of energy to rest of the other sentient being. So if you're able to do that, and that lasts, no more as a lust, even though started as a lust, started as attachment, but it transformed, it evolved into a overwhelming, immeasurable compassion, overwhelming, immeasurable love, overwhelming, immeasurable love, like that. You see, we say if the boyfriend likes the girlfriend, you say, I love her, isn't it? You say, I love her, I love him. You see, you use the term love, isn't it? Even though it's a desire attachment, it's the lust, but it's I love her, I love him, isn't it? Now that even though it's the lust, but now you say, I love all sentient beings. You see, I love all sentient beings. You see, so in short, it naturally will evolve. The moment the object you choose entire numberless sentient being without any discrimination, then you express the similar kind of, you train your mind to express the similar kind of energy that you express to your partner, then no more as lust. You're able to take the lust as a path to enlightenment. You see, so like that. Then verse 13, if you fail to display your wrath as a yamantaka to the blossoming poisonous flower of anger, the threat looms of the hostile ones impeding you, so slay this enemy and obstacle through stimulated anger. So if you fail to display your wrath as a yamantaka, they say, if you're able to utilize the anger as a yamantaka, able to display as a yamantaka means overwhelm. The anger is the expressions of wrathfulness with overwhelming compassion. You're unable to do that, then it is a blossoming poisonous flower of anger. So it is a very powerful, harmful to you and others. The threat looms hostile to invading you. So it's going to cause you so much harm, you see, if you are unable to, that wrathfulness, unable to express through overwhelming compassion, then it's going to be only harmful, you see. So if such in case, then you should overcome, the enemy of anger through the simulated antidote, which is the clearest example is yamantaka, like that. So taking anger onto the path, in general teaching, there's no such technique in Sutrayana. It's only in the Tantra that anger can take onto the path. Like that. So not like the attachment. So in Tantra, then you see, like compassionate Buddha manifesting in like higher giver, sorrowful, like Manjushri manifesting in Yamantaka, So like a Tara, like green Tara manifesting into, there are also other wrathful Taras, like green Tara manifesting into Vajrayogini, more wrathful, other deity wrathful, like Pandalam, like Tara manifesting into Pandalhamo, like etc. So these are taking anger onto the path. And if you practice Tantra, then there's a way to do that, But then in Sutra, even though there's no such anger can able to take onto the path, but wrathfulness, wrathful, like sternness, that can be practiced, with a very with a strong compassion, a strong basis of compassion, then completely concerning the well-being of other, then you can show, bit of like stern look, bit harsh look, solely for the benefit of taming, someone's negativities. Like similarly, how a loving parent would sometimes become a bit stern to their loving child in order them to lead the child into a correct path. If the child tends to do wrong thing, then the parent, has to manifest, a bit wrathfulness in order to be more strict. In that manner, then the wrathfulness can be meaningful. So, but as far as concerned with the anger, there's no meaning at all. It's only harmful. Like when you read the chapter 6 of Shantideva's Buddhavacharya, it's like unbelievable faults of anger. One moment of anger has the power to destroy many eons of accumulation of virtues and merit. And virtues and merit are the cause of our happiness. You see, uh, and we only want happiness. We do not want even a slightest form of suffering. You see, so while our innate wishes is only happiness and do not wish suffering, at the same time, then instead of accumulating virtue, and we freely let our system to generate anger, then that can be the most foolish person, uh, like against your own will. You want happiness, but you willingly or you freely let your system to accumulate causes of suffering. You see, even you may have some accumulation of causes of happiness from the past, but if you allowed yourself to generate anger, then that will, destroy everything. It's like wipe away from the root. You see, then you become empty-handed of causes of future happiness, and empty-handed, and going to experience a life without any happiness. You see, so like that. So anger is one of the most destructive, negative emotion that must overcome. Then verse 14 is no, the ignorant. Um, if you fail to engender forbearance like a corpse towards the muddy, poisonous mere of delusion, um, the threat looms of the evil ones accumulating negative so meditate on the equanimity through stimulated delusion. So here delusion, especially delusion, um, or the ignorant, not understanding the inter coexistent or interdependent um coexistence of the rest of the phenomena, rest of the sentient being. uh, then the interdependent of the karmic cause and effect, interdependent between happiness byproduct of virtuous karma, uh, etc. You know, uh, so then the ignorance of ignorance of not understanding where the true happiness comes from, where the suffering comes from. You see, so so by practicing equanimity, meaning open-hearted mind. By practicing open-hearted mind, then uh, you gain the wisdom. You see, so through the stimulated delusion, through the which is ignorant turning onto a wisdom, by realizing uh, the faults of not knowing, not understanding the conventional reality and ultimate reality, then you actualize wisdom. You start to have the wisdom of understanding of karmic law, cause and effect, wisdom of understanding interdependent relation with you and others, like such as interdependent relation of your happiness dependent on the rest of sentient beings, sentient being. By relating virtually with the rest of sentient being, you actualize meritorious karma that brings about the result of happiness in you, etc., etc. Can able to overcome the harm of delusion. So if you fail to engender forbearance like a corpse towards the muddy poisonous, so you see, so the ignorant is regarded like a very sticky mud, you know, because of the delusion. Uh, you never wake up in the wisdom, then you are always like a stuck very steadily, like gluely, stuck in the mud of darkness, of not knowing the conventional and ultimate reality. You see, then that threat, the evil one, stimulate negative act. Then that will threat. I mean, that will cause you to perform unbelievable negativities. When we live in ignorance, then we don't care about karmic law, cause and effect. We just harm anybody who we wish to harm, we want to harm. We don't observe the karmic law, cause and effect. We don't respect, or we don't observe any goodness that which is beneficial for future lifetimes, because you don't have the wisdom of understanding and believing there's an existence of future life. And if we live in the marks of the ignorance of you know uh, the existence of the triple gem Buddha Dharma Sangha, then we don't value the teachings and the qualities of the Dharma Sangha, then we will not follow them, we will not learn about them. If we live in the marks of the delusion, then we will not see the faults of attachment, anger, the rest of the delusions. Then uh, we will not understand the faults of the 10 non-virtues. So not knowing the faults of killing, then we continue to kill. Not knowing the faults of lying, continue to lie. Not knowing the faults of being in the ignorance of not knowing the faults of sexual misconduct, continue to indulge in sexual misconduct and rest of the delusions. Then uh, it's like a so sticky, like kind of like a super glue. Our our existence will be like a super glue in the mud of the poisonous, mud of delusion, mud of ignorance, uh, and which will only experience faults and sufferings, in endless samsara, you know, like limitless times, you see, uh, like that. So in order for us to overcome that, then we need to overcome that through the stimulated delusion, which is the wisdom of emptiness and wisdom of interdependent arising and wisdom of emptiness. Then verse 15, if you fail to distinguish between inner and outer I and you, towards the blossoming poisonous trees of envy, the thread blooms of the heretic destroying the Dharma, so uphold the supreme Dharma through stimulated envy. Mm. Mm. So if you fail to distinguish between inner and outer as I and you, uh, so it's very much also can be understand that the if we fail to understand uh, the the what do you call it, the correctly existing I and the faulty existing I, or correctly existing I or the correctly existing self. Mhm. Or in another word, uh, not understanding the uh, absolute reality of 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 the identity of self, or identity of the person, uh, then those are the main basis where such kind of poisonous delusion like envy expresses, and that threats, mm, uh, that threats the heritage, destroying the Dharma, that you know that threats to violate one's vows, uh, violate one's faith, even giving up a Dharma, etc. You see, so therefore, uh, to uphold the supreme Dharma through stimulated envy. Mhm. So the way to do that is to always uh, cultivate, always take Dharma teaching as one's guide, day-to-day life guide. Uh, take the Dharma teaching as a guide. Mm. Then whatever vows and precept that you hold, you practice, uh, more important than your life, your heart. Mm. Uh, mm. Uphold the vows and the precepts, samayas, so that way, then mm, you will able to, preserve. You will not be affected, by the blossoming poison tree of envy, something like that. Then, if you fail to react, this verse 16, if you fail to react hostility as though haughty to the blossoming poisonous tree of conceit, the threat looms of deception by the demons. So crush your opponent when upholding the Buddha's teaching. So if you fail to react, hostility to as though haughty, as though so when the conceit, when the pride arises, and if you fail to overcome very drastically, like hostility, to the very very concrete, thought of haughty, like an ego pride, then that ego pride, will be very harmful. It become a blossoming poisonous tree of pride, poisonous tree, which is so harmful to you. So, in other words, whenever ego pride arises, you cannot be gentle to overcome that. You have to be very drastic. You have to be very efficient, effective. Whatever means that it takes, that you need to overcome that. Otherwise, it's going to harm you. It's going to harm you badly, like that. So the threat looms of deception of the demons, deception by the demons. So as long as the pride, egoic pride, remain within your system, then one going to get a very hurtful harm, deception by this demon of pride. So crush your opponent by upholding the Buddha's teaching. So the way to overcome that, again, upholding Buddha Dharma, such as the wisdom of emptiness, seeing the no self, understanding the emptiness of self. So that's the most effective antidote to overcome the pride, because the pride is very much like a concrete mountain built on the non-existent basis, the non-existent I. So if you realize empty of that I, the pride, the mountain naturally, collapse. So Buddha's teaching here, is directly meaning the teaching on emptiness. Then verse 17, the conclusion is that, thus, therefore, you must bind together in this one fetter of self or I, with the experience of unreal illusion like appearances and emptiness, the entire army of poison without accepting one, and like a peacock consuming all such poison as nourishment. So therefore, so knowing all the faults of the 5 poisons as we discussed before, then you must bind together in one fit of the self or the I within the experience of unreal. So you need to, chain, fetter of, the false I or false self or the I have to be chained within the experience of unreal, unreal of true existence, unreal of inherent existence, independent existence, by seeing that self or I as an illusional-like appearance, and empty of inherent. You see, so in that way, then enemy, poison without abstracting one. Not just the ego pride, but rest of the delusion that we have talked about, and rest of the 84,000, the sub delusions, will be like a peacock consume all the poisons as a nourishment. So as a practitioner, in that manner, then all this delusion will be like a peacock consuming the poison, instead of harmful to you, rather it becomes nourishment to your spiritual practice. So whatever delusion comes in your way, it becomes nourishment in the wisdom of emptiness. You see, uh, here is the illusional like appearance and emptiness. So, your experiences in day to day, while you are still in the samsaric aggregates, uh, interpret in everything in the two manner, the illusional like manner and the emptiness, in emptiness manner or in emptiness wisdom. So in another word, entire one's experiences divide into two part of awareness. When you are directly engaging with the experiences and activities, everything interpret them as like illusional like dream like. Whenever that you conclude to your activities, when you have a time to pause, when you have a time to pause for activities and engage into some kind of meditation or absorption, then you dissolve into emptiness. You conclude everything into emptiness, completely remain in the void of anything to be cling, uh, whether it is subject, the I or self, or whether it is object, the aggregates and rest of the phenomena. You see, so this is the essence, how to take the antidote of this wisdom of emptiness, by in tackling, in purifying, or in taking the delusion onto the path, or purifying those mentioned delusions from our system. The way to do that is the verse 17. You see. Mm, mm, mm. So all the time, everything, whenever you open your eye, whenever you hear things, when you see things, when you feel things, when you think things, uh, you know uh, everything you interpret that these are illusional like, these are dream like. What you see, what you hear, what you think, the actual fact is not the way how we not the way how the thought comes in, not the way how I see. It has its ultimate reality beyond that, which is unreal from the first perception of the things that you are perceiving, and which is which therefore it is illusional like, which therefore it lies in the nature of emptiness, empty of, you know uh, empty of true existence, empty of inherent existence. you know Mm. Uh, so then, so when you wake up from that, meditative equipoise on emptiness, like after whole throughout the day that you are training your mind, interpreting everything is like illusional like. Then when the day when the day comes to end, you conclude in a very deep meditative absorption for 5 minutes, 1 hour, or whatever amount of time, totally, be in total voidness, the absolute void of like nothing externally, or nothing substantially kind of exists out there for me to consider, for me to think about, consider about, interpret about. Nothing, like completely dissolve into like empty. Mm, like completely like vast void, profound, and sense of relax. Uh, so when you wake up from there, then uh, you know it's very much how to say, mm, mm, very much in the sense of well educated about the fact of existence. You see, mm, that you happily integrate, you happily engage with anything comes in your way, uh, but then nothing to be attached. You see, like very much like open to everything, attached to nothing. I saw one quotation by Teloba, your heart like open to everything, but attached to nothing. You see, so that is the result. That is the result of uh, the meditation on emptiness. Meditation on the two way, illusion alike, and emptiness. Then effect of that, when you wake up from your meditation, or when you resume your day or your activity, or you resume, you wake up from meditation, now you resume to have a cup of coffee, you resume to talk to someone, you resume to look in the mirror, and you start to see your face. There, your heart is like free, relaxed, uh, easygoing, which is open to anything that comes in your way, but you understood that nothing to attach, nothing to grasp, nothing to hold. See, that experience is very much like the experience in the state of liberation. You see, so even you're able to experience that for one moment, you are tasting the experience of liberation, and you continue to build that up. Then eventually you actualize actual cessation from delusion. You experience like that. Then when you actualize the actual nirvana, freedom from all the delusion, you completely experience like that. You see, then when you engage in enlightenment, you attain enlightenment, then it's everlasting. Everlasting experience of you know that that liberation. You see, so it's a very very important meditation and very effective meditation. You see, whenever, I mean, we have so much problem, so much thing going on. uh, of course, there are solutions that you need to, let's say you're sick, you need to go to see doctor, etc. But that all should be done with mindfulness and steadiness and calmness. If we wish, we can do that. Or maybe even like the next moment approaching death or some accident or whatever, everything can be approached uh, mindfulness with a calmness. If you have some sense of training of your mind through this emptiness meditation. You see, your heart, even anger arise, is open to that anger. It's like a hollow, like something passing through, but didn't obstruct to anything, just pass through and void. You see, so our heart has to be open to anything, whether it's delusion, whether it's positivity. If we have that openness, then even delusion arises, it doesn't matter. So this is one of the conclusion of what it means by taking delusion onto the path. You see, uh, try not to be judgmental. Try not to even say, "Oh, anger is so bad." You know, oh, that is initials. Preliminary training is to see all the faults of delusion, then making sure that you understood well. But the conclusion of meditation, you know, on the true technique of emptiness, then after that, even virtue comes, there's nothing to kind of like interpret. Even negative comes, nothing to be interpreted. Your heart is like a hollow, openness. It's like pass through. You see, there's no exaggeration, there's no explanation. uh, uh, since there's no explanation, since there's no exaggeration, since there's no elaboration, then even something is negative pass through, there's no impact of negativity. Even it's positive pass through, also there's nothing kind of shaking your mind, like suddenly the heart rate become higher, not like that. You see, so is a completely neutralized, completely equanimity state of your mind. Uh, mm, so then that very much uh, very much expresses that kind of state of your mind, expresses of total free from clinging, total free from grasping. Mm. Whether it's good or bad, you know, you don't look back, you don't think back, you live absolutely harmonized in the present moment. You live absolutely in the present moment, with that one single essence of voidness, of nothing to be grasped. Mm. So that is something that is very very powerful. So have to practice that. So this is the verse 18. The verse 19. Thus, therefore, even if you are expert in all form of knowledge, if you fail to forego your own happiness and prosperity, the danger of affliction entering your heart still exists because of craving. So, beat this self-centeredness as you might, charging dog or thief, you know. So even you expert in all forms. So even you know emptiness, even you know bodhicitta, you know sutra, tantra, you know entire knowledge, but if you fail to let go of expectation, self-centered expectation, you know, I do this for my happiness, I do this for my prosperity, you know. If you don't forego that, if you don't forego, in other words, if you don't forego any form of practices, any form of knowledge that you have, including all the profound Dharma knowledge you have, the fundamental important factor is that there shouldn't be self-centered idea. The self-centered comes in two forms: self-centered, uh, self-cherishing attitude, and self-centered, ego ignorant. So you see, so self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude. So these two are the self-centered attitude. These two need to be free from your system. Uh, otherwise, otherwise, uh, the danger of affliction. Otherwise, the danger of affliction is still enter into your system. You know, because of the craving. Where the craving comes from? Craving comes from uh, the either through grasping ignorant, or either through grasping ignorant and grasping self-centered, self-cherishing mind, which both are expressions of self-centeredness. Mm. So therefore, as far as concerned with the uh, self-centeredness, you have to chase away from your system as if like you are chasing away thief dog. Mm. In the West, you don't see that. Like in Nepal, in India, in Himalayas, I mean, there's so many dogs on the street, especially in Nepal, India, and the dogs are hungry and dogs start to steal things from the shops. Then the way the people, like the chase, the tip dog is like unbelievable. They will beat them up, they will scold, they will badmouth, they will use anything, like that. Of course, it's very bad. Shouldn't do that, but it happens like that. You see. So an example, you see. So when it comes to chasing away the self-centered attitude, then we shouldn't be kind of calm in that. You have to be very, very forceful, like that. So verse 20, although you may be at the feet of learned one, if you fail to cultivate your knowledge of the vast treatise, you risk determining the diminishing the learned one. So cultivate familiarity with the field of knowledge. Mm. So even you are with the learned one, if you fail to cultivate your knowledge for the vast treatise, uh, even you are with the great learned Dharma teachers, but then yourself, uh, only remain with the faith, but no knowledge of learning by yourself on the treatise, then there's a risk of it, uh, denigrating the learned one. Not only yourself will not gain the knowledge, but then you may even danger of you know uh, pulling the feet of the learned one. Especially like the Dharma students. who want to share knowledge to others. Even you have a great learned teachers, and you yourself not learned, you yourself didn't study properly, and you propagate the Dharma, then instead of uh, uh, instead of you know uh, preserving the legacy of your teachers, you may pull the leg of your teachers. Especially like myself, and many who who share the Dharma knowledge, who who especially who call themselves as Dharma teacher. Mm, I mean, like we have unbelievable, enlightened, omniscient gurus. Uh, but then with the little knowledge ourselves, didn't learn properly, then we explain the teaching to other. Then there's a danger of pulling our guru's leg down. So this is this talking about. So therefore, when we want to share Dharma knowledge to others, we really have to study properly. We really have to, you know, understand by yourself. uh, we cannot say I give the knowledge to you because my teacher is so great. That's not good enough. You have to be great in extensive learning. uh, then that will serve the learned gurus. Uplift the learned gurus, respect the learned gurus. You see, uplift the legacy of learned gurus. Otherwise, it will harm like that. So the similar way, as a Dharma, Mahayanic Dharma student, Mahayanic Dharma student can be understood like the Mahayanic Dharma student. We say, oh, I have this great guru, I have this great guru, but then your behavior is so low. Your behavior is like worse than, worse than who don't practice, who live a life in a negativities, delusion, violence. Then even you have a great learned guru, a great guru of the Bodhisattvas, enlightened guru, then you will only drag their quality. What's say you will jeopardize their quality. So like that. So in another word, we have so many like great panditas like Shantideva, etc., like existing gurus like His Holiness, Lam Subrahmachari, and all the other US spiritual gurus out there. So many great learned gurus out there. And if you regard that you are a student of them, then yourself need to put great effort in learning, not just one teaching, but learning the entire 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, whatever way, like through Lamrim. If you learn Lamrim properly, like great Lamrim properly, you are learning 84,000 teaching of Dharma. If you learn, Lojong teaching properly, you are learning 84,000 teaching of Dharma. If you choose the philosophical treatise, then if you learn 5 treatises of philosophical treatise properly, you are learning 84,000 teaching of Dharma. You see. Then if you have time, if you effort to, then you study all the Kanjur and Tenju, those great volumes, 300 over volumes, 400 over volumes, like that. If not, I think the busy people like us, then at least, the Lamrim Chemo is like something that must study, must study. Lamrim and the Lojong, these two teaching. Uh, Lamrim, the structured teaching. The Lojong is like the instructional teaching. So once you study all these two, then, uh, if you understand well, then you will really serve the legacy of your gurus. Verse 21, even if you suffer throughout the day and night, if you do not contemplate the defeat of silent existence in general, the danger of indulging in the cause of suffering still exists. So torment your heart. With the thought of karma's ill consequences. So here, this is talking about the renunciation. Uh, here, like this, even if you suffer throughout day and night, but if you don't, contemplate the falls of the silent existence, then um, even you do not want to suffer, you will continue to accumulate the causes of suffering. This is like very much like we put ourselves as example. You see, beside the suffering of pain, we think is happiness, and we live a life with that, and we very much pursue the well-being of that. As long as our objective is very much to avoid the suffering of pain, but not about avoiding the pervasive suffering of change and pervasive suffering, in particular pervasive suffering. So because of that, then like our situation very much, even we do not want suffering, but in every day to day, in family responsibility, job, even during the practice of Dharma, we are still, our Dharma practice, our accumulation of cause for liberation is not pure, because there's no genuine renunciation. So as long as there's no genuine renunciation, the accumulation of pure cause for liberation won't be there. So here talking about the importance of the needs of the element of renunciation from entire self-existing, entire the compounded, the aggregates of suffering, the compound, let's say, the pervasive compounded suffering. We must need the renunciation of that whenever we engage in any form of gathering virtue. Then we will be gather genuine cause of freedom from all the sufferings. So otherwise, even say I want to be free from suffering, but then we may continue to accumulate causes for the suffering. So this is the importance of renunciation. Then verse 22, though this is so, seek all the undesirable suffering as a counterforce in vanquishing self-grasping, even if a millions or billion demon armies rise up against you, abandon the fear raised from the thought I am. So this is talking about the purification practice. Though this is so, even though how much suffering we go through, like we are still carrying this suffering, self-existent body. So even though that we need to experience the self-existent, even beyond this life, no question about this life, but even beyond this life, then you willingly endure the suffering. You willingly take the suffering onto yourself for the reason to vanquishing the self-grasping. So for the purpose of destroying the self-grasping, which is the root, self-grasping, ignorance, and self-cherishing, in order for the reason to destroy that, then you endure the suffering, even how suffering it is, then it's meaningful. It is meaningful, but the meaningful because it purifies the suffering aggregates. It purifies the karma. Purifies the past karma. So even if a millions and billions of demons rise against you, how many harm that comes in your way, you take it, you endure it for the reason to overcome the self-grasping. So in that manner, then from our system, abandon the fear that rise from the thought I am. I am suffering. You see. So by understanding that why I am suffer, because of the false understanding of the identity of I, identity of me. So therefore, all this negative force of sicknesses and negative force of the harm givers is act as an antidote to overcome this false I. So therefore I have no fear about this I. So like that. So verse 23, in working for others, you may fall into the lower realm, embrace this experience without regret, even if the executor of death comes to rob you of your life, do not have beneficial right perform for your sake. So it's all talking about the earlier one, and this one is very much practice of Tonglen. For the sake of benefit of others, others' well-being, other sentient beings' well-being, then uh, mm, whatever suffering comes in your way, even how many lifetimes that you need to endure in the three lower realms, that you don't mind, even right away, the death, the accuser of the death comes and take away your life right now. uh, if that also happened for the cause of benefit of rest of numberless sentient beings, then you have no regrets. You have no you don't suffer. Do not have the beneficial right. In that kind of situation, so in another word is understanding that your heart is fully in the mindfulness of bodhicitta, the concern, the well-being of numberless sentient beings, enlightenment, then uh, that itself is the most powerful antidote to purify the samsara, the suffering, the three lower realms, because of your dedication of entirety of your existence. Even you happen to born in the three lower realm, you know, you willingly, happily, you know, uh, embrace that for the benefit of rest and sentient being. For that kind of practitioner, then when you are passing away this life, not even need to perform any kind of ritual, ritual pujas, beneficial rites like such as powa. You don't need powa, so you don't need to perform puja. You don't need to do, family member no need to do anything. The heart of bodhicitta will take care everything uh, to the maximum benefit. So you see, so it's very much talking about the verse 23 is talking about the power of bodhicitta. Can be like the most powerful power transferring your consciousness from three lower realms and all the sufferings, just simply because of you is simply because of uh, every experiences, including uh, including endangering or burning into three lower realm, including uh, causing harm, taking your life. You dedicate for the cause of numberless sentient beings enlightenment. That bodhicitta heart. So in other words, bodhicitta, as long as uh, you live with bodhicitta, you die with bodhicitta, then you don't need any other kind of virtues to help you to liberate you. So he's talking about that. So verse 24, even if you must beat the evil karma of every being, since your burden will be most worthy, you must not complain, even if a virulent contagion ravages your body. Since it is your fault, do not seek to revert it. So even in the lifetime that you dedicate your life for the benefit of others, serving in the heart of bodhicitta for the benefit of a sentient being, then mm, at the end that you even you suffer like a leprosy, you suffer with the chronic sicknesses, then you shouldn't feel regret about it. You should feel meaningful about it. Because the purpose, the meaning of the practice and meaning of the life is fulfilled. You see, so therefore, uh, whatever, even the chronic sicknesses like such as contagious diseases such as leprosy comes in your way, nothing to revert it, nothing to seek revert it, because you rather feel that this is like a final uh, the the karmic result of the past, coming into effect of purification. You see, coming into purification, uh, then your heart completely lift with freedom. Live completely, be in freedom, that once for all that you're going to purify entirety of the faults of the past karma. So it's as a Buddhist practitioner, think like that. Mm. So you see, even in our normal life, some people, they serve whole life. They serve others. Serving Dharma, serving the well-being of people, sentient being. But then they get accusations, they get sicknesses. Even after dedicating lifetime in meditation, even they after they realize emptiness, but then their body get like cancer, strokes and diseases, for the practitioner of Bodhisattva, nothing to feel bad about it, rather feel good about it, rather that this is like a final, the last, the purification of the past definite karmic impact is ripening within this very lifetime. So once that you discard, this contaminated body, then once for all, that you are completely like free and liberated, by the power of dedication of your lives in bodhicitta, in serving the well-being of sentient being. Because of that, and these are, you can see very clearly from our precious gurus, even our precious living gurus, you see, when they, without doubt that they realize emptiness, without doubt that, they are bodhisattva, but then their physical body still go through a lot of troubles. You see that, but then you can see very clearly that this practitioner, these gurus, their heart never disturbed. Not only our gurus, but also, practitioners, within our time, in the West, in the East, everywhere. There are some great practitioners. You see them. You see that. When they pass away, when they get sick, wow, their heart is like so steady. They're so in bliss. But physically, it's like unbearable suffering that you can see that. But then their heart is like completely like in fulfillment, confident. Why? Because of they dedicated their entire life serving the sentient being with bodhicitta heart. They live a life in a bodhisattva's conduct because of that. So this is a advice, a teaching that we also should, learn to become just like them. So then in that kind of manner, then in our life, whatever problem comes in our way, nothing become problem. You see, then we will not give up serving the Dharma. We will not give up serving the sentient being, even in the most tragic time. So this is so powerful teaching, because the weak practitioner like me, we practice when we are happy. When we have problem, then we forget about our practice. We lose faith in our practice. There are people like that. You see, so it cannot be like that. If problem comes, we should practice even harder. When obstacle comes, we should practice even harder. We strengthen our motivation, our dedication, our life in bodhicitta even greater, harder. So that should be the way. That's the bodhisattva's way, courageous way, like that. You see. So then, uh, Dharma practice surely going to help. You see. So the practice of Dharma practice, we cannot become like a share market, go ups and down based on our emotion, based on our liking and disliking, based on what comes in our way, happy moments, suffering moment. Then the impact of Dharma practice, difficult to get into our system, you see. So we have to be very steady, especially in difficult time. We should use the Dharma wisdom to tackle our obstacles, like that. So verse 25, thus, so the reasoning, why we should practice whatever explained before, the reasoning is thus, therefore, if unwanted calamities fall to befall you, you will have no means to obtain the wanted. When the wise examine, all calamities are seen as a source of fulfillment. Thus, you must eagerly embrace them, like that. Then verse 26, if through eagerly embracing others' ingratitude, heroes fail to wear the protective armor. The one within silent existence will find no joy. Therefore, embrace all calamities willingly. So, if we want to enjoy the life with full of virtue, full of fulfillment, in any circumstances, in any situation, with good people, with bad people, whatever, we should behave like a bodhisattva. We should wear the armor like such as uh, the armor of bodhicitta. Armor of bodhicitta. The heroes fail to wear the protective armor. Uh, um, the one then, even like us, like who aspire bodhisattva's practice, but we fail to wear the protection of bodhicitta, the strong bodhicitta mind, bodhicitta dedication, bodhicitta intention, application of bodhicitta, the altruistic emptiness and bodhicitta attitude, then one within self-existence will find no joy. Then whenever problem comes in our way, we lose hope. Whenever problem comes in our way, we lose direction. We lose our compose. Then there's no suffering. Then there's no joy, no joy in the practice, no joy in the life. You see, so even in the suffering, even in samsara, or even in this situation of suffering, if we have the armor, like a protection of bodhicitta and emptiness, then even in the silent existence, that we can still enjoy the meaning of life. We can still experience the happiness and the meaning, the fulfillment, like that, you see. So therefore embrace all calamity willingly. So therefore, with the arm with the protection of bodhicitta emptiness, then you take, you willingly take all the adversities in our way. No need to kind of avert or reject. Rather, like how the peacock willingly consume the poison and nurture the colors of the feather and make it become so beautiful. Likewise, we do in our life like that, with the delusions and problems when it comes in our way. Verse 27, from the example of the life of the great sage, such is the teaching to be practiced by the sublime ones. This is the gateway worldly of the heroes one. So in earlier, from the example of this, the Buddha's previous life, Bodhisattva's activity, like such those examples, and along the teaching that the example of many great masters. Then in our lifetime, we witness our gurus, how they practice. Such is the teaching to be practiced by the sublime one. So these are the practice of those bodhisattvas, and practice to be practiced by those aspire to follow or engage in the bodhisattvas practices. This is the gateway worldly of the heroes one. So if you aspire to accomplish the benefit like how the bodhisattvas have actualized, then this is to us is a gateway worldly, worthy of the heroes one. Like it is worthy for us to engage, so that we also will accomplish same way how the bodhisattvas accomplish the 5 paths and 10 grounds and actualize the state of full enlightenment, fully for the benefit of ever beneficial for the numberless sentient beings well-being, like that. Okay, so chapter 11 of the extracting the essence of poison is complete. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So today, it become a bit. I took quite a lot of your time, so sorry for that. Because of the initial, I was a bit distracted. So anyway, thank you very much. So now we do a quick dedication. So whatever merit that we accumulate collectively, individually, and all the merits that accumulated by past, present, future Buddhas, be the complete cause for numberless sentient beings free from oceans of self-existence, oceans of samsaric suffering that it causes the karma and delusion and actualized state of full enlightenment. May this collective merit be complete cause. The natural disaster that are happening around the world, like such as the flood, as I mentioned in the beginning, fire, then also the suffering that caused by pandemic, then whatever the mental sufferings, emotional sufferings, they may be free from them right away, and all the people and all the beings actualize liberation and freedom from the adversities. Also, there are people that who there's so many people who are suffering, but and also there's some people that who requested prayers, who are going through some troubles in life, like health, etc. Like Vika or Kotina and Alina Drozdensko and Liu Wang Chun, Dr. Lee, Chris Price, Geshe Tinley, and Rachel, Madam Wong, David, etc. May all of them actualize perfect health, long life, and fulfill all their wishes accordingly. And also dedicate those who, all the people and all the animals who pass away from these natural disasters, and all who pass away from the any form of sicknesses, in particular in last 49 days, including like Chi So Chon, Lu Yong Kon, Te Yek Cheng, Gani Yozon, um, Gray Son Shang Chi So, free from the suffering of death, suffering in the middle state, suffering of rebirth, actualize high rebirth in the Pure Land, and then they actualize state of full enlightenment within that very lifetime. May this collective merit be a complete cause for all the world leaders and leaders of family, leaders of organizations, and yourself who lead your life. Be free from negative emotions, actualize full of wisdom, of selfless, and attitude of loving kindness, compassion, so that anyone under their leadership can able to enjoy only peace and happiness and virtue. May this collective merit be a complete cause for all the good people in this world, like Isona Dalai, and all your spiritual gurus, and yourself and your family members. Enjoy perfect health, long life, and fulfill all your aspirations accordingly. May this quality merit be complete cause all the virtuous institutions like nunneries, monasteries, and dharma centers, free from inner outer obstacles, and actualize all the conditions to preserve perfect learning in the virtues and dharmas, and actualizing the stages of realization on the stages of the path accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. May all of us and all the other sentient beings able to follow the bodhisattva's conduct, and able to practice bodhicitta and emptiness most effectively, and especially like all of us here, due to our collective karma, coming together to go through these precious teachings, able to, like what the Dhammarashita advised, able to take serious in the practice of bodhicitta and emptiness in our day-to-day life, and able to overcome all the delusions and karma and samsara, and may our life be most beneficial for our own enlightenment and the enlightenment of numberless sentient beings. To dedicate ourselves and the merit and the purpose that we dedicate all lies in the nature of emptiness. Then please do dedication. If you have any specific dedication, you can dedicate now. Jawade Nudola Lamazanje do Jone do Jamale Bade Salago Bajo Chanjo Simjor Bajo Majapan, Jawani Bame by one of the Tony Tower and Majapan, Jawani Bame. And you know what about Majapan, Jawani Bame by one of the power I show. Carrera coaching on the better to woman in the chance. What is the jet? Shabby said about the danger to the Jango, the Jogo, that's what the Jip have the show. Pamazam Jadam Jadam using a Rodam Jadam to one that you some of us, but the one you want to do Jabba, the when you do Java, the Adam Jaradon, the Java, Javadam Jadam, Judon, the Java, some budget more. Devarajman those with no one, just over the Zom to the Jam, that opposite over the Zom to the Jam. That opposite over the Zom to the Jam, Jun Devarajman was a minute of the Jam, Devarajman was the same one of the Java channel. Major the Javajala, the Delu, maybe the Dajala, Nanda may be able to. Okay, thank you very much. Take care. Sorry for the long session. Okay, take care. Bye bye.